The next question is, are there districts or states that are, quote, getting it right and effectively funding schools? Well, those are kind of two different questions. I guess getting it right in terms of funding, I think it's more like a state level thing because states are the level at which these finance decisions get made. In some states, they have a very aggressive redistribution scheme so that, local jurisdictions decide on property tax rates. Some districts are rich, some are poor. But in some states, they kind of tax the wealthy districts and redistribute the money much more aggressively than others. That makes a pretty big difference. I actually would say that Massachusetts is a good example of a state that's getting it right, at least relatively speaking. If Massachusetts were a country, its academic achievement would rank with Singapore. So all of these U.S. to international comparisons where the U.S. doesn't do so well is not driven by places like Massachusetts, and there are other states too, but since I'm in Massachusetts, I know it best. One of the things that Massachusetts does well is for districts or schools that are struggling, it pairs greater accountability with greater resources. So there's a kind of multiple levels of warning systems where if schools persistently cannot meet performance benchmarks in terms of achievement, graduation, things like that, the state takes more and more control over them, including eventually appointing a receiver to run the district. That's a last step. That happened in Lawrence, Massachusetts. That's some work that I did studying the impact of that. But that's the last step in a process. And at every step of the process, they actually get more money. So it's like, you need help. We're going to spend more money. We're going to provide you with tutoring and other academic supports to try to help you turn this thing around. So it's not just a kind of like cracking the whip. It's the carrot and the stick at the same time. And I think that's a really effective approach because most people who work in schools that are not meeting benchmarks want to improve. And if you just yell at them and tell them improve, it often doesn't work. You need to actually give them a helping hand. And so I think systems like that, Massachusetts is not the only place that does that, but that's one that I know has been successful.